Welcome. It's so nice to see you all. It's going to be a fabulous afternoon pregame show for the Super Bowl for who's ever watching it. And this is the fourth in my series of Meet the Author Zooms, and they've all been fantastic. This is the one I'm looking forward to most because I get to spend the entire time talking about me. I get to talk about me. So I think you've all learned how to do mute, and so I'm going to mute you all now. And if you look at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen by putting your cursor down to the bottom left, you will see how to unmute yourself. And that's going to be really important later because there's going to be all kinds of participation going on here. Another thing you're going to want to be able to do is scroll to the right to reactions, because sometimes I'm going to ask you to put up your hand. So let's practice that right now. Take the cursor down to the bottom, go all the way over to the right where it says reactions, and raise your hand. Not like this, but raise your hand mechanically so that there's a little hand in your screen. Good, 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 good job. Okay, I see a lot of you have figured out how to raise your hand. Now, what I want you to do is lower your hand. Lower your hand. Okay, and you can play with the reactions any way you want, but I'm going to call upon some of you later because in this group, there are a lot of movers and shakers in the Monarch business who are doing really, really good things. And I would love you if I call upon you to summarize in less than 1 minute. There's a challenge. What contributions you make to monarch conservation, and that's going to be really fun when that happens. Another fun thing that we're going to have this afternoon that many of you have discovered already is the side chat bar. So if you click on participants at the bottom, you can actually have private conversations with any of the 65 people who are here right now. You click on them and then you can have a private conversation with them. It's like passing notes in school. So if you get bored by what I'm saying, or if you'd rather hear it later in the recording and you'd rather chat with Brenda now, go ahead, see if she answers you. Or with Audrey about anything, like anything at all, like what's she doing? You can pass notes just like in school, which is kind of fun. And I'm going to talk about a few things, and then you can ask questions. And the first thing I'm going to do is a house tour. And I want to take you for a tour right inside my house, which will be really fun. And then we'll get to know each other better. And we'll all get a chance to chat with each other again at the end. So
I just started doing that.
And mute. Oh, okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you a little bit about the house where Audrey and I live. Maybe I should introduce you to Audrey first. Audrey, say hello. This is my partner, Audrey of
hello, everyone.
Of 18 years, and she's the participant in the Monarch, because what I'm doing is she's doing too, and she's fully in. I'd like to introduce you to my daughter too. That's Barbara Fagan. Give a wave. And out of my 3 children, 2 of them are still very, very active in the raising of monarchs. I'm about to share the screen. Okay, can you see my screen? Somebody's going to have a bar.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Thank you for that. You can see the screen. Good, good. So I wake up in the morning and make the bed. And
oh, wait a sec. I'll make the bed, but that's okay.
All right. Some people, there's the bed somewhere along the line gets made, and my day starts with looking at monarchs. This is what's on my bed. Then I go into the bathroom, and there's the shower curtain made with my own photograph. It was a lot of fun to make it. I even have my slogan on top: discover it, love it, protect it. And if you look at the bottom, it says the Monarch Crusader. So that is the bright thing when I walk into the bathroom every morning. And while I brush my teeth, I look at Monarch pictures on the wall. Then I head downstairs and see my main Monarch wall covered with my pictures plaqued. And if I look at the other side, we have canvases. This one being from Mexico. And that's, as I'm walking down the stairs, I see that. When I get to the bottom of the stairs, I see this beautiful work of custom art from Steve Brown, and that monarch and the caterpillar and the bee and the chrysalis are all wood. You can see I'm looking into my living room there, and if you see on the wall, there's a large butterfly above the TV. If I look to my right, I have souvenirs from Mexico, and on the other side of the door, more souvenirs from Mexico. I go into the kitchen to eat, and everything I use is Monarch: the pot holder, the dishcloth, the rags, and the what do you call that thing that holds the spoon, and the oven mitt, and everything else in the kitchen is Monarch themed, and the walls are orange, the color of the oven mitt. Into the living room, above the TV, on the coffee table, a souvenir bought at a Monarch event. I want to look out the window. It's monarchs and more monarchs. In the den, on top of the book, the desk, I have my book and this plaque that says, believe and succeed. The key to happiness is having dreams. The key to success is making dreams come true. And a monarch on sandstone that we got in Arizona. Of course, this is only a very small sampling of what we have. Then as I'm walking downstairs, Audrey and I have a happy wall. And the happy wall has pictures of fun things that we've done that make us happy. This particular picture is Audrey and Mary Lou, who is in the meeting today, and they have just had a first experience. Both of them have had a first experience a few minutes apart, and this is the Leslie Street Spit in Toronto, and each of them has just discovered their first chrysalis in the wild. And every time I go downstairs, I have a look at this and relive the excitement of that day. Hi, Mary Lou. Go into the next room, and we have this picture taken by award-winning National Geographic photographer Jaime Rojo, and he gifted this to me, and I will talk more about that later. This is my bedroom in my mother's house. It's still there. I just took this picture, and my room is just as it was. And when I was 12 years old, I chose this wallpaper with the butterflies on it, only because I like the colors. I don't think I noticed that there were butterflies on it, but it was certainly foreshadowing of what was to be. And in fact, the whole room was with that wallpaper, including the ceiling, and that's what it looks like today. And some of you have been following my musings into the drawers there that you can see, and what I've taken out of those drawers from when I lived there. That room is still a shrine. We're going to come to that later. First, I'm going to take any questions that may occur right now. Put your hand up if you have a question for me right now, and we'll be taking questions throughout. If you have a question, put your hand up with the little reaction hand, and I will call upon you. Okay, and I would like to call upon Jim. Jim, could you say hello and unmute yourself? Oh, there you are.
Hello.
Okay, I want to introduce everybody to Jim and Sheila Ellis. Hi, Sheila. Jim lives an hour away. And can you tell us, Jim tags monarchs. For how many years have you and Sheila been tagging monarchs?
I think we started about 1998, somewhere around there. We had our first recovery in Mexico in '99.
22 years. And approximately how many monarchs do you tag every year-ish?
Well, it's in the hundreds. Last year it was 850. The year before it was 1,500.
That's a lot. That's a lot of tagging. So it's very fun to hear Jim and Sheila report every day how many monarchs they tag. And can you remember how many recoveries you've had in Mexico?
It's in the 130 range. We had 2 in Michigan, 1 in Kentucky, and a few in Ontario between here and the American border.
So for everybody's benefit, Jim sticks a sticker on a monarch and it flies 4,000 kilometers to Mexico. 130 times somebody has found them, some of them alive, most of them in Mexico. And when the tags are found in Mexico, it's usually by the guides and the monarchs are dead. So it's mixed excitement. You're very excited that the monarch that you tagged was found in Mexico, but that monarch did not complete its mission of going back to Texas and laying eggs. Still, it helps the scientists determine the speed that they travel, the route that they travel, and all kinds of other things. And we've got citizen scientists all over the place doing wonderful work like that. Thank you, Jim. Don Davis has the world's record for longest migration by a tagged monarch. Also starting in Ontario. How long have you been tagging monarchs, Don Davis?
Well, I tagged my first monarchs in 1967 with Fred Urquhart and Fred and Nora. And then I tagged a few years, got away from it, but now continuously tagging since 1985.
And how many recoveries do you have?
Oh, very many, and I'm not sure exactly how many. As Monarch watches, I have to go over the database of Monarch Watch, but I at least 200.
At least 200
in Mexico.
I want to tell everybody that I have had one of my monarchs recovered. It was extremely exciting. So to have hundreds, it's just unbelievable. And I've actually had the pleasure of buying tags from the guides. So there's a lot of dead monarchs at the monarch sanctuaries, and they have to find them on the ground in the bush, and then they get paid by Monarch Watch for them. And I've had the pleasure of actually buying a few. So I'm going to go on, since I don't see any other questions, I'm going to go on and talk some more about me. And then after this next segment, get ready with your questions and I will call upon you, okay? So I'm going to share the screen again. So I want to talk to you about how writing this book, How to Raise Monarch Butterflies, has changed my life. And a really, really fun thing that I get to do because I've written this book is teach. This is a group of kids. They can't trip over each other fast enough to see whatever it is that I'm showing them, probably a monarch feeding, but it's really, really fun to teach. I get to teach outdoors. This is where I'm holding a little bit of Gatorade on the top of that yogurt lid, and the monarch is actually feeding. So by holding it like that, I can move the lid around and everybody gets a really close look at the proboscis and they love it. I was teaching at a library, and at the end, whenever I can, we do a release and we send our message to the gods. We have a ceremony. I explain the migration. Everybody has a good time. Oh, and they get to touch the feet. So I put the monarch near people's hands and they light their feet on it, and the kids get to feel the tarses, and it's tickly, and they will never forget that. Where did I learn that memorable trick? From Canada's leading citizen scientist, Don Davis, who is with us here today. Every year I get to speak at Canada Blooms, the largest flower show in Canada. That's really fun. And of course, I get to dress up for everything that I do. This was really fun. Whenever I go to a conference, I volunteer to be an emergency speaker. So if a speaker drops out at the last minute, I have my PowerPoint with me. And here I was, I got off the plane and I got a message, tomorrow morning, we need you to do a presentation. So I got to do this presentation at the Butterfly Breeders Convention. And at the Insect Club, and I get to wear another shirt. Oh, I take a poster wherever I go so that when people are around and in between and on breaks, they can go and look at it. And the fastest way for any of you to get a poster for any of the festivals that you do is to cut up my book. You cut it up in a lot of pieces and you've got an instant poster, the easy way. All kinds of different venues in school are fun. And even when I go to summer camp, I get the group out after lunch every day. We do a release, we tag them, and everybody takes home their education, and we keep all the rearing containers in the dining hall, and it's fun all week long talking about monarchs. Here I get to teach the Humber Bay butterfly stewards about caterpillars and butterflies. They work as volunteers for the Toronto Regional Conservation Authority, and I get to teach them about butterflies in the outdoor classroom with no PowerPoint. It's a completely different experience. I also get to teach the David Suzuki Butterfly Park Rangers. It's a group of 40 people, or 1 year it was 80 people who volunteer the whole summer to work on projects, pollinator projects in their area. And I get to inspire them to actually focus on monarchs. And one of the guys I inspired actually started 900 swamp milkweed seedlings, one for every child in his kids class, and then invited me to speak. So that was very cool, because right in Toronto, we have an extra 900 just in that area, monarchs, milkweed going into the ground. One of my most fun teaching experiences was in Mexico. When I went there, I thought it would be a good idea to teach kids how to paint monarchs on rocks so that they could sell them to the tourists. So in half an hour, I did that in Spanish, which was extremely difficult. And only later, this is the results of that very first day of painting, and only later did I learn that most of these kids had never had a paintbrush in their hands. So in this town of 300 people, there's no money for art supplies. I supplied all the paint and the brushes, and on their first time with a paintbrush in their hand, this is what they did. And I tracked them over the years, and they got better and better. Self-esteem, business skills. It was a great feeling. When I travel, I get to meet very important people like Estela Romero. She's the reporter for Journey North, and she lets us know what's doing in the sanctuaries all the time. If you ever want to know, you just go to journeynorth.org and you can see her reports. When I went to the Michigan Wildlife Convention, I got to hang around with Doug Ptolemy, and the Monarch Biology Conference that Don was at, got to chat with Lincoln Brower. So it's always fun to go traveling about monarchs. So you get to talk about monarchs all the time. And oh, there's Don Davis. And beside him is Betty, who is a prolific tagger and really contributing and to the monarch tag research. And beside is Jaime Rojo, who is that national wildlife photographer who gave me that picture. And why? because I spent 3 days with him. As you can see, that it was real torture to spend this 3 days with him. And we were on the Leslie Street Spit, and he was going to pitch an article for the National Geographic. He finally was successful. And next year, well, 2 years from now, probably, when we see an article about monarchs in the National Geographic, it will be by him with some of the experience he gained while I got to show him around. And there's a meeting in Tampa of the Butterfly Breeders Association where we got to hang out with Chip. And we traveled to Detroit to see Brenda's butterfly habitat, and we got to meet monarch conservation specialist Debbie Jackson and Diane Pruden. And there's Brenda, and we've gotten to meet Gail Morris and Joyce, all kinds of monarch conservation specialists from Monarch Watch. Oh, and there's Jim and Sheila, the prolific taggers. Don't look at that silly person with the boots beside. And when we go to Florida, we have all kinds of fantastic experiences. This one, we got to meet Edith. This is Edith Smith, the one who answers all your questions along with Brenda. And this is a before picture of Edith. Edith looks completely different now, because if you follow Edith, you'll know that she's adopted a forks over knives diet and looks completely different and feels great. Same thing with Brenda. This is a Butterfly World in Florida, and I get treated like a VIP to all these places when I go. Sometimes they want me to do a book signing, a little demonstration, and there I am with Jessica McAtee, and Audrey and I get private tours of these butterfly conservatories because they treat me like a VIP, which is a really fun change since writing the book. Since the book being accepted for publication in 2011, I've had pinch me moments constantly for 11 years. It's for 9 years. It's really been a pinch me life, the privileges and the changes in our lives because of that book. And we traveled to Montreal for their Butterfly Festival. And we went to Butterfly Dance when we were at a butterfly convention. And oh my, what a good time we had there. This is what the butterfly breeders do. They have a lot of education. And this is Connie teaching all of us about monarch and caterpillar health and raising. And you can see that we got an opportunity for hands-on. So we are practicing moving caterpillars from one place to the other. And we even got to practice hand pairing among the many things that we can learn at these butterfly breeders conventions. So I love going to them, and you get to talk about monarchs from morning till night. So I'm going to stop it there. We have a little bit of a freezing issue here. Let's see if I can. Okay. Frozen for a minute. And Mary Lou has a question. Go ahead, Mary Lou.
Yeah, I was wondering, Carol, are you coming out with any more books in the near future?
Well, just last week, I learned, thank you for asking, that a book that I wrote years ago and had given up hope on completely has been resurrected from the publisher. And it's Fitzhenry. It's a major publisher. The book is going to be called Five Butterflies. So don't talk to me for the next 2 weeks, because the editor has just sent me all the work that I have to do. And I'm very excited that another book is going to come out. And I put a small section in on butterfly breeders, and the editor was so interested, she told me to expand it. So I'm very excited about expanding that section.
Is this an instructional book or a storybook?
It's nonfiction. It's about our people's relationship with butterflies, and it talks about 5 different species, and it's in first person and it's storytelling, so it's a completely different style. And it will be about the 5th in a series of similar books that this publisher puts out. One about giraffes, elephants, rhinoceroses, a different kind of experience, and of course I will keep you posted.
Oh, that's good news.
So I'm going to call upon Mike, David, and Steve, and if you could, I'll start off with Mike. If you could tell us very briefly the really good work that you're doing in your area for monarchs.
You talking to me, Carol?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, again, my name is Mike Martin. We're located in Marion, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And what we've been doing since around 2015, 2016 is working on 3 areas. The first area is increasing pollinator habitat throughout Lynn County. In Iowa, there's 99 counties, so we're one of 99. We're trying to get the word out, the importance of pollinator habitat, which of course includes the milkweed and all the other native pollinator plants that we have. One problem this year was, if you heard about it, we had what's called a derecho. We had a land-based hurricane here in the Cedar Rapids, Iowa area, winds in excess of 140 miles per hour. We had a tornado fly right over my lab here, and we lost all of our primary tents, our 12 by 12 bio tents that we had out back. We lost every one of them. Throughout Cedar Rapids, we lost around 65 to 70% of our canopy of trees. And a lot of that, what we're trying to do now through Clark, who is our benefactor, is get people to plant native trees as opposed to trees that you can't use, like a ginkgo. Forget that. We're using the methods taught by Doug Tallamy with Bringing Home Nature and his methods. So we're looking at lettering with overstory, understory trees. Some of the taller shrubs, the shorter shrubs, the various native perennials.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm particularly interested in your bio tent.
Oh, okay. So
And
yeah,
the difference you have made in your area by raising caterpillars safely.
all right. So again, that's kind of what we call our second moonshot. It's where we use a 6x6 bio tent. It's 6 feet tall by 6 feet wide. It's made out of a like a no-see-um type insect netting. And we put that out early over top of a plot of milkweed, just milkweed. And we help populate that with eggs and or caterpillars that we have in our area, in our labs. And with that, we protect them, but they're outside. We don't do any inside rearing. It's all outside. And that way they get all the elements, the wind, the rain, the sun, the heat, the cold. They get everything like they would in nature, but they're protected from a lot of the predators. And our whole idea is that we want people to do this early on. Early in the season, you get out in, you get your first generation raised, you release them, and then you let Mother Nature augment that population of the monarch that's going to migrate naturally. You get those monarchs out there.
And how have you engaged the community in that?
We have what we call Monarch Zones, and it's simply people contact us. They kind of tell us what they want to do. I meet with them, talk to them. They get registered. They come out here, purchase a bio tent. We take them through all the procedures on how to raise milkweed. In most cases, they can't really, unless they have an existing plot. But if they don't, we help them with milkweed plugs. We give them milkweed plugs and seeds. And the first year, they're allowed to raise their milkweed, get that milkweed growing. But again, like I said, however, if they have a plot that's already existing, they can take that tent and put it over top of that plot, and away they go.
Well,
lot of
thank
things-
you for that. I'm going to move on to somebody else, but Mike's been a great supporter, and they've bought, I don't know how many hundreds of books to provide to people who are going to be raising those monarchs, to give them the whole story. And now we have a story from Richmond Hill, Ontario.
Hi, Carol. How are you? Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for doing this. I was thrilled to be able to participate. So yeah, hello from Richmond Hill, Ontario. We've been, I'm very proud of our community. I think actually in Canada, we were one of the first, if not the first, to sign the Mayor's Monarch Pledge in about 2016. I think it's between us and Markham, but unless there's anybody from Markham, Ontario here, I'm just going to say that it was us that was first. Is that okay? But anyway, since that time, council has endorsed.
Is the counselor who's been driving all of this.
Yeah. Since that time, we've done a lot of work in Richmond Hill, and I'm quite pleased. And it's been an ongoing thing. The Monarch's Pledge was really the first step, and it was an educational step for us and the staff and for our citizens. But we've been doing a whole bunch of things in the community. We've naturalized many dozens of acres of land in Richmond Hill, planted milkweed to the point where I used to find it was very uncommon to find milkweed in the wild, but now it's all over the place, and we need more of it still. We've had workshops, we've done all kinds of different things to help educate the public on the importance of monarch butterflies. I actually first met Carol in 2015, and every year I would have this barbecue where I'd ask all the citizens to come out and, have a councilor barbecue. And I decided that a free hamburger wasn't good enough, so we hired Carol to come and make it a Monarch Festival. And the Monarch Festival kind of morphed a little bit, and now this year we had the Flight of the Monarch Day that we proclaimed in Richmond Hill, and I had our first ever Ward 4 Councillor West Monarch tagging challenge, where we asked our citizens to do all kinds of tagging. And when I decided to do that, I thought, well, how am I going to teach everybody how to do all this tagging? So we decided that we would call Carol and buy her book, and the book became the textbook that we gave to all of the participants, and we ended up tagging about 100 of them, and hopefully this year we're gonna tag even more. So anyway, thank you for all you do, Carol, and this has really been an exciting thing for our community, and I certainly hope we can continue to do more.
Oh, thank you, David. Thank you so much for all your hard work and for getting so many plants in the ground in Richmond Hill and making a difference. Carol, you got a question?
Yes, hi. Yes, thank you. I'm going back to Mike Martin just for a moment. Can we get our hands on this bio tent of yours?
Yeah, I was just getting ready to text it in or put it in there. People can go to monarchresearch.org and follow the prompts through that to locate where the tent is. Now, one concern is with that we always have is the shipping cost.
I'm in Ontario.
Yeah, it might be a little expensive to get shipped up there. Maybe I need to do a road trip up there and take a few with me.
Yeah, come to my house.
Yeah, but yeah, we can access that. I always go out and try to find the lowest shipping cost anywhere. We've shipped them down to Florida. We've shipped them to California. They've gone out to Pennsylvania. So in Michigan.
Yeah, Mike, we actually have a very active group in Southern Ontario of monarch enthusiasts, and I'm guessing we could make it worth your while.
Yeah, most definitely.
What's your location, Mike?
Marion or Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Iowa, okay.
Yeah, we grow corn. So, not potatoes.
We need to, you know what, the Southern Ontario people, we need to get him here during migration time. He can have a great experience, and
yes,
get your bio tents.
Yes.
And I have a place for him to stay.
All right, and I'm going to meet him there at your place. Perfect. It's okay. We're going to work on that, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Steve, go ahead. Unmute yourself, Steve. Steve, we cannot hear you.
Statement for David West. It's interesting about the friendly competition between Richmond Hill and Markham, but I think what's the best about all this is how you inspire others. Your personal enthusiasm is unique. Our municipality doesn't have counselors like that, but the fact that you inspire others, they get exposed to Monarchs, Milkweed, and Carol and her book. Inspiring others is just amazing. And you're just one example in this group, and that's what I'd like to commend you on.
Well, Steve, tell us about how you inspire others in Chatham.
Well, I guess that's a good lead in. I've had opportunities to create probably 14 or 15 pollinator butterfly gardens in my area. On school grounds, in the green space, and further to that, people have wandered through, looked at our signs, and there's 2 more individuals who are planting gardens right now in other spots. So being in the green space, I'm always checking it out for monarchs, and when people come along, I can't help but talk about them. And most people are pretty understanding, and just to give them a few facts, and to be there when a monarch shows up and explain it, it's a good lead in. So just an opportunity to pass on. Most of my gardens that I planted, some seeds do better than others, so I'm always passing on seedlings, and I'm handing those out or encouraging others to take seeds. Is that what you wanted, Carol?
Yes, and I'm going to add to that is that I got to meet Steve last year when I went to Chatham to visit my monarch buddy, Mary Lou. And one of the huge benefits of this job that I have is to meet people from all over and talk monarchs all day long. We went to see what Steve was up to, and there was this huge pollinator garden in a park. And he planted it all himself. He takes care of it all himself. And it's his garden, except it's on city property. So he got permission to build this fantastic garden on city property. And now you walk by, there's monarchs laying eggs all over it. Then we walk down the street to a boulevard, the one with a circular boulevard. And in the middle of it, there's another pollinator garden that he built by himself. And this is just the initiative to be able to say to the city, listen, you're not doing anything with this property. I'm going to put a pollinator garden on it, get everybody interested. Then when people come by, I'm going to give them plants and talk about it and show them. And it just explodes. So this is the grassroots kind of thing that Steve does to make a difference in Chatham.
Well,
thank you.
That cul-de-sac garden you saw, someone else has been inspired by that to make their own cul-de-sac garden on the other side of town. So to me, that makes it all worthwhile.
Leo, are you up to anything in your area? I think you are. You're not muted, but still I can't hear you. So Leo, we can't hear you. We've got a technical problem here. Even though you unmuted yourself, we still can't hear you. So there's a microphone issue. Keep working on that and we'll come back to you if you get that figured out. Does anybody have any other questions about anything? About the book, about any pictures in the book, about how the book came to be, anything else you can think about those questions. I'll go, oh, all right, well, let's go to Lynn. Go ahead, Lynn.
Hi, you mentioned your beautiful bedroom wallpaper and you were 12 and you didn't really realize that it was butterflies at that point. You love the color. When did it actually hit? I mean, I teach with, my thing is kids. So I was just curious when the bug really got to you.
Well, I grew up, I had my summers in the country, but I was looking for tadpoles and fish, not butterflies. I was introduced to caterpillars by a guy I went out with. So I was in university, and his idea of a fun date was to ride our bicycles for an hour and a half to a conservation area, have a picnic, and look for monarch caterpillars. So I married him. And Barbara Fagan there is one of the results of the many good things that happened. And ever since then, I have never stopped looking for caterpillars. And that's when I got the bug. And it's just turned into a complete obsession that's basically 365
That's right.
days a year.
Well, cheers to you.
Don, go ahead. Donald Davis, your hand is up. Is that because you forgot to put it
There
down?
we go. I don't mute myself. No, just to underscore something you said, Carol, this is very important. Of all the satisfying and experiences we have with monarchs, the presentations we do for schools, very satisfying, very important. Even with the pandemic, I was able to support a couple of schools here in Toronto, an inner city school downtown with rearing monarchs, another school in Toronto, a very special school providing with monarchs to release and some materials, and the feedback you receive back. Those are important events to engage in with young people.
Okay, then I am going to switch back to my program for a minute, and then I'll ask for questions again and other things that I forgot.
Excuse me, Carol?
To go again.
Leo, I think, wanted you to try him again.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
A little bit.
Okay.
Okay, so speak loudly.
Oh my God. What's wrong with this thing? I don't understand. Can anybody else hear me? Or is it just you?
Okay, we can hear you now.
Okay. Anyway, thanks for the chance to share our story, Carol. As you know, back in 2017, I got involved with this thing with the monarch and butterflies all together. So we did encourage a few of our neighbors, fans, family, and municipality to create the butterfly gardens and so on and so forth. Plus, we create a local group where I got people involved now, not only in planting milkweed and flowers, but also raising monarchs, as you know. And I became known now as a milkweed man. That's the nickname that I got. And mainly because I got a group that during the fall, we harvest millions, literally millions of common milkweed seeds that we send out to anybody across North America that wants them. And, I just keep plugging it along and encourage everybody to do the same thing that we are doing.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
All right, thanks.
I'm just going to finish up here. Here we are at Butterfly Wonderland. This is the largest butterfly conservatory in the States. I believe it's in Phoenix. And this is the Butterfly Estates in Fort Myer. I had a really fun experience there. And I looked at a poster, and it was my book cut up completely. They just used it and cut up the book. And I was so excited. Anyway, all of a sudden they got really nervous and they started apologizing. Oh, we should have asked permission and this and that, which I'm really open with my stuff. But that was one of the fun things that happened. And this shot is what I am willing to do to find a caterpillar. I'm willing to do just about anything, get bitten by all kinds of insects. It can be 90 degrees. I don't like the heat, but I'll sweat through it. I scale cliffs to find them and go in ditches that are steep with gravel. And it's just the most fun obsession. And Audrey, would you like to talk about this slide?
Okay, this slide was taken in Moncton, and Carol and I were in a camp for a week for curling. Curling is our secondary winter passion. And you know, everywhere we go, no matter where we go, we make sure that we scour the town to see what's new in the town. They had so much milkweed in this town. This was Moncton, New Brunswick, during July. And we couldn't help but, on our way walking to our curling event, we had to stop and look for eggs. And we found lots of them. And then we would find lots of caterpillars. And then Carol would collect the caterpillars and take them with us to the ice rink, of the curling ice rink. And then at lunchtime, start chatting with the youngsters that were there about the Monarchs. So wherever we go, we seem to always come back to the central point, our core position of Monarchs. And that was me looking.
Is Deidre here from Fellsmere? We were in Florida. And we're always looking for day trips. I go there to visit my mother, and we're looking for day trips or even overnight trips. And we see that there's a Frog Legs Festival in the middle of nowhere, a place called Fellsmere. And there's fewer than 6,000 people there. But they have figured out this genius marketing plan to get people in the area. Is they're going to sell deep fried frog's legs. So there we are wearing our butterfly breeders t-shirt, and we're going to go get some frog's legs. Well, they had a table there from the local Native Plant Society, and there were 3 women at this table, and 2 of them jumped up because they saw a couple of live ones that were actually interested in what they were talking about. So we started talking to them about butterflies, and they were explaining things. Meanwhile, the 3rd person, whose name was Deidre, was sitting down, and one of them looked at the other, and Deidre said to them, you know, whatever her name was, Shirley, I'm guessing that these women know more about butterflies than we do, which was kind of funny because she saw us. Anyway, she asked us where we were from. We said, we're from Canada. And she said, really, you're from Canada? Do you know Carol Pasternak?
Well, we just about fell over.
Well, we're from Canada? Do you know Carol Pasternak? Anyway, so it always pays to ask, no matter how big the area is, it pays to ask. And I looked around to see whether I was on candid camera, but I wasn't. And I said, I'm Carol Pasternak. Well, if she didn't leap up like she had just won the $1 million, she came to across the table, she hugged me, I could hardly breathe, and she started crying because she couldn't believe that she got to meet me. Now, this was one of the many fun experiences that I've gotten to have because Firefly decided to write the book, publish the book. So I want to finish up by asking if there's anybody else who wanted to speak about what they're doing or ask a question or anything else that I may have forgotten.
Carol?
Hey, Lynn?
May I take this time to mention something, being that you have this wonderful audience here? I posted that there, right near me, I'm in Connecticut, and right over the line in Massachusetts is an amazing butterfly emporium called Magic Wings. And they've been there for 20 years and are now retiring, and they're looking for very serious butterfly people to come and take over their business. So if anyone knows anybody who might be, I mean, this is a beautiful, beautiful area where you walk in. It's just like Butterfly World. It's so glorious. And to see it not go again to another butterfly managed place with really good people that know what they're doing would be a shame. So I just wanted to put that word out there. I put a post up on the Beautiful Monarch, and there is a number on it that people can call. That's it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for that. Go ahead, Vicky.
Hi, everyone from Hawaii. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I just wanted to let everyone know that we've got a great group going over here. It's called Monarch Butterfly Friends Hawaii. Carol is in our group. She really gives us great support, and I want to thank you, Carol. I have my co-founders on as well. We've got Marcia Mead Murakami here somewhere, Marcia, and Judy Nguyen is also on. And it's just been so much fun. We've gotten so much help. You don't have to live in Hawaii to be on it. And we've gotten so many supporters from all over the world getting on and helping us get this going. And I just want to invite anyone who has any interest at all in this to please hop on. It's really been great fun working with Uniting the Islands, and I've gotten some great ideas today. I'd forgotten about getting that Mayor's Monarch Pledge. I did that over in Brookings, Oregon, and that was, so I know how to do it, I just forget. You know, so thank you for doing this today. I've got pages of notes, pages already, and I'm trying to think who might like to visit Hawaii and bring us a bio tent. Free room and board.
So Vicky drove from Oregon to Hawaii and is really getting monarchs established there even more than they are, and making a lot of noise in Hawaii. So thank you for that. If you have your hand up from an earlier question and you no longer want to ask a question, please figure out how to put your hand down by going to reactions and putting your hand down. And Penny, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I was just wondering, I have been working with monarchs for only about 3 years now, and there's so many people here with so much experience. And can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, and good ideas. What I would love to do is to get something started in our community. I'm in Northern Illinois, and we're really in the middle of the farming community. And so the few times I've kind of mentioned growing milkweed. So a lot of the farmers have spent their entire life trying to get rid of milkweed. So that made it a bit of a challenge, but I was just wondering some ideas on how, especially with the, a lot of our schools are doing e-learning right now, but I was just wondering this summer if you have good ideas on maybe how to start up some stuff in the community and get some community involvement.
Yeah,
I don't think there's much going on around Danville right now.
The community gets involved by teaching everywhere, because everybody wants a speaker, and you can have my free presentations. You can speak in the schools, at libraries, at summer camps. And what really is helpful is when you bring live specimens. And what's even more helpful is when you give them away. You give them away with the instructions, and then so many of the people are hooked. And once they're hooked on the caterpillars, well, they're going to have milkweed. And then we start talking about milkweed that isn't common milkweed, so that it doesn't run into your neighbor's garden. And we say it's maligned. It shouldn't be called a weed. It should be called a butterfly flower. And that's how little by little we get people on board with butterflies. Now, not everybody will be able to take care of a caterpillar, but if they get to touch it, okay, this is a big deal. So you're doing a presentation, again, which I said I will give you for free. You do the presentation, you take some caterpillars, and you let the kids handle them. You let the kids handle the caterpillars, and you'll see how gentle they can be, and you tell them, and they can pet it. And all of a sudden, they've got a personal relationship with an insect, and they start to really care about it. Then from there, then we start milkweed plants with the seeds that Mary Lou is going to give you for free, or other people, and along with their caterpillar, you give them the plant and you are off to the races.
Yeah, I'm sure the kids, I took a pet finder things just from Walmart with the caterpillars in it last year, and I always took to a couple families that had, like, one of them had 5 kids, one had 6, and I took the milk, I put some milkweed in the bottom, but they were all 5th star in stars, so I knew they would get to see the caterpillar and then see them J hang, and the kids literally were just ecstatic. They named them. I got thank you notes under my mat at my front door from some of them in town when they came to visit home. So yeah, I think that they do love it. My own grandkids, I mean, gosh, they're 3 and 4 years old, they would run in the door and want to know if the caterpillars are J hanging, if they're in chrysalis, and they know all the terms. And
yes, well, this is what we get. There's so much action in those few weeks that kids are really running to see what happens next. I'm going to turn it over now to Suzanne for a few words.
Okay,
thank
you.
The butterfly lady with 10 bazillion followers and inspiring for so many years. Thank you for coming, Suzanne.
Thank you. This has been wonderful. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to agree with Carol. I'm going to answer the question about what you can do to inspire farmers, because a few years ago I lived in North Carolina. And for a couple of years, I did displays and demonstrations at the state farmers market, or not the farmers market, the state fair, which they had one year. And it's a big, every state and every county has a county fair or state fair. And that's where the farmers go. And just like Carol says, if you have caterpillars or butterflies or anything that people can interact with, they become more interested. And so what we did is we had a whole display to talk about monarch butterflies. We gave away free materials that I got from, I think, Monarch Watch and various organizations. And then we'd let the kids hold the caterpillars, and we also would have butterfly releases. And I was actually paid for this event, which made it even more fun. But what I noticed is once I started talking about the importance of milkweed, especially to farmers, it was like, oh. And one wife hit her husband. I remember this. She hit her husband and says, "You need to stop mowing down that milkweed." And then of course I could, well, you could, wait till after spring, wait till about June or July, and then go ahead and mow it down. But I do think that that's a good venue, farmers market, anything like that, to start talking about. And again, I used to do farmers markets too, and would release the butterflies. And that got quite a lot of attention. And that's kind of how I got really known in the area where I lived. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for jumping in, Suzanne. I didn't realize I wasn't specific enough about farmers, so thank you for jumping in with that. And now Charmaine. Charmaine?
Hi. I just had to unmute myself there. So, as you know, I'm in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and we're very active here with what we're doing. One of the groups that I belong to is the Monarch Teacher Network of Canada, the Manitoba region. And we have that shirt too, Carol. I think you had that in one of your slides. So what we do is we go around to the schools and we do workshops for them. The Monarch is this source that we use, but we also, it's very important to talk about pollinators in general. So we do that. And part of the program we do here as well is to help the teachers and the schools to build their own gardens. So they plan it and we come out and help them to do the planting as well. Some of the students will be there, so they're also getting the hands-on learning. So we do that with the schools, we do it with the community centers, the seniors, any of the facilities. And because we're here, we have the Living Prairie Museum and the Tall Grass Prairie, one of the few regions left that has a tall grass prairie. We connect with them as well, and they have a butterfly festival in the summer. The other thing is, you know, with COVID this last year, we haven't been able to go into the schools because Manitoba has been quite on a lockdown. So we have been revamping the e-learning, and the new program will be coming out soon. We also, when we go into the schools, we bring in several bags and boxes of books. Your book is included in there too. Brenda is here. I saw Brenda, her book is one of them. So lots of great books that we recommend to everybody. And we have a workshop for the teachers during the summer. It's a full day workshop so that if they're not going to have us come in and talk, they get the information there and we do hands-on with them so that they can take that into the schools. We also do a couple of other exercises like making seed bombs with them because that's something that the kids will love to do, working with the mud and the clay and sticking the seeds into it. We also have a very active group here on Facebook. It's called Manitoba Monarchs, started by Yvonne Sharples, and she's the admin and the founder of the group. And she's taken that from last summer when she started the group to just about 1,000 people now. So it's good to get the word out, and the more people that know, the faster the group grows.
Now that is quite an achievement, Charmaine, because the group is exclusive to Manitoba. You must live in Manitoba to join that group, and she's got 1,000 people. So you can just imagine how much more milkweed and monarchs they have in Manitoba because of the efforts of just a few people.
Yes, and the only thing here is that common milkweed is considered invasive. So there's a few other things that Manitoba Monarch Facebook group is doing to be proactive. So the Mayor's Monarch Pledge emails have gone out to all the mayors and the reeves and the towns to see who we can get on board. Some of the people on the Facebook group are interested in getting the golf courses in. There's another program with golf courses and some of the green spaces as well. So it's very active. We're all very active here. And with the Manitoba Teachers Network of Canada, Manitoba Region Group, you can't really post on it, but if there's something that you would like to share here, please send it so that we can post it.
Yes.
I try and incorporate, I'm admin on that, so I try and incorporate everybody.
And if you ever get a chance to take a Monarch Teacher Network course, it is the best thing ever. So I'm going to wrap up right now, and we're going to go into the second part. The wrap up is I want to draw your attention to the sidebar. If you scroll up in the sidebar, you're going to see a link, the Monarch Crusader Speaks, and you should click on that now so that you'll have it open. And the reason is that you can tell your friends that the recordings for all of these Zooms will be on that page. So if you want to look at it again or send it to your friends, that's where the recordings are. That's also where you can register for upcoming Zooms with Lynn Rosenblatt or Ba Ray or Brenda or Brenda. So you can click on that link and scroll through and you can register for those upcoming Zooms and tell your friends about them too. And the other link, and if you click on it now, it'll just open it so that you can keep track of it. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that I've been asking for contributions towards the Zoom costs. For this Zooming, I got an upgraded business account to allow us to have longer meetings. And then I upgraded that again so that I wouldn't have to turn people away at 100 participants, which has happened. So if you would like to contribute a couple of bucks to offset my Zoom costs, then I won't have to worry later on about having to turn people away, which I really don't like to do. And the link for that is edit paste. If you'd like, you can click on it now, because and that way you'll have it. It doesn't mean you're giving any money. It just means you have the link. Otherwise, in an hour, you think, oh, I should have thrown in a couple of bucks, but I don't know what the link is. So there it is. Brenda needs to come to Canada. Now, everybody who wants to leave can leave. I want to thank you all for coming. It was really nice to see you all again. I wish I could mention every one of you by name. Thank you to all the people who have already contributed. Thank to people who have bought my book. Thanks to people who are making a difference in the community. And there was one other group that I wanted to thank, which I can't remember right now. But thanks all for supporting me and being my friend. And now you can all outmute yourself. And this can very quickly turn to chaos. But what you can do is, let's say Brenda's really excited about seeing Charmaine. Brenda can say, hi, Charmaine, and then you guys can talk to each other, and do it for a short period of time because somebody else may want to talk to somebody else, or you can notify people in the chat that you want to talk to them. And let's just have a free for all of, boy, it's really nice to meet you after all this time, or anything you like. And everybody can take off their mutes now. Ask to unmute.
Hi.
So just jump in.
I'm going to jump in and say hello to all of my friends that I have met all over. It's so nice to see everybody. And Carol was mentioning that we feel so privileged because we get to see all of you from all over the US and Canada. So thank you for being a Monarch lover and Carol's follower and my friend. I love you. There you go.
Audrey, thanks.
And Audrey?
Yes, Brenda.
Where's my top like that?
Where's your what? Where's your thing like this?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess, I guess we'll have to come visit you and we'll have to bring you one.
Or if they ever let me into Canada, I'll be over
Right.
there.
Yeah, you know what? Unfortunately, right now, we're not letting nobody in.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Penny,
Yes.
are you there? Can you hear
Yes.
me? Penny, my name is Dolly and I work in Oak Lawn, Illinois, and I'm a member of the Illinois Monarch Project. You and I should probably talk later on, and I will get you connected with that program and they will be able to give you some resources.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Okay, I messaged you in the chat with my email address. And you can shoot me an email and we can chat maybe later this week.
Okay, if I don't, I am not, where did you message me at?
Down in the chat, down at the bottom of the screen.
Okay, not real up on Zoom. This is my first Zoom.
Oh, okay, well, you're doing just fine.
Okay.
Why don't we all go to the next Michigan Wildflower Festival, and then we can meet Brenda.
Great idea.
And we can deliver Monarch jackets.
Great idea.
And I can wear my Brenda's butterfly habitat shirt.
But this year they're just doing it, on Zoom. So, but hopefully next year we can all go again, because it's so much fun to be with like-minded people talking about native plants, and that's something I have a passion for. But I like other plants too, if the butterflies and moths use them. But yeah, I love them all equally.
Brenda, I feel like I've registered for that. When is it?
Oh, geez, it's usually the first Saturday and Sunday of March. I didn't register this year. I've got so many Zoom things coming up that I didn't register for it this year.
Yeah, I registered for a recent a butterfly breeders conference, and when you register for these all-day things, like, you don't have to sit there all day. You put your picture there, you cook. I'm not talking about you, Brenda. I'm just talking about general. If people want to go to the wildflower conference in Michigan, it doesn't mean you're stuck for 2 days. It means that you put it on and off when you want, and you get to see who's there too. They had 400 people there the year that I was there. Good.
I have a question. Can I ask a question to the group?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I read Dplex, the Monarch Watch, and it appears that the monarch butterflies in the west are down